How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. You?
I'm good, thank you. So the way I usually go about this is we'll spend a little bit of time be like a Python developer. So where do you see yourself right now? Your primary skills, like is it Python, C++, Java? If you had to rate yourself, where would you go with that?
I'd say Python. I'm most comfortable in Python.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Let's jump into the coding question.
All right.
First question: do you know what a LRU cache is?
A what?
LRU.
Oh, least recently used.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we want to implement an LRU class in Python.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, you can ask the questions and get started with it.
All right. Sounds good. Any particular details about the cache or just a general LRU cache?
The general LRU cache, you would get a size as an input, and then you can make design decisions whatever way you want.
Okay. So I guess the cache should be equal to. You said the input would be some size. So for example, if throw in like 5, would be the size of the cache. All right. So I'll definitely want some init function to start off that takes in a size of here is this pass. And we'll say self dot size equals size. And just so I can print this, I'll add a say size. Just to verify that's working. So print cache. I run that. Okay, yeah, that looks good. So size 5. All right, so let me put some notes. So least recently used cache. So how do I want to implement this? So you need a get. There's a get function. There's a put function. So, okay, let me think. I know for the properties, you should be able to do a get in O of 1 time. So I'm gonna probably want to use a dictionary. And for put, let me focus on get for now. So for the dictionary, essentially, if there's a cache miss, if value not found in cache, let's basically check if key in cache. Key in cache, then you want to return that value. Return value in dict. And what else? You probably want to. Okay, so you also want to be the least recently used, last recently used. So if that's there, you probably else. I would say if it's not in the cache, then there's a cache miss. In the case of a cache miss, would I just start return -1 or some string? I think you're on mute.
Just raise exception.
Just do what?
Raise exception.
Okay, raise an exception. So raise exception. Let's say
Not found or something like that.
Yeah. Right. So that's mostly get. And then for put, I want to init dict dictionary with key and value. So you put that in there. So the put must have some key, must have some value, and similarly get must have some key. Init dictionary with key and value. And this is also LRU. So if the size, if it goes over the size limit, so if greater than size limit, then pop the last.
So one thing is like when you get a value,
yeah,
you also need to. That also counts.
I need to move it to the. Yeah. Just to clarify, this isn't done. I'm just stream of conscious putting down first what comes to mind.
Yeah. No. I'm just telling you, like even in the get.
Oh yeah, that's not done yet.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and edit that, but I wanted to put down some put before I forget this. So if greater than size limit, pop the last access value. I also want to update to run of cache since that was last year's unused. Similarly for get, Let's see. I'm going to move to the end as well. Key, return that. No, so before I return the value, I want to essentially move to end because that was not necessarily used. Okay, let's see. All right, so I'm sure there's more details, but that's the main thing I want to add. So I'll continue. There's this weird bug where it keeps switching back to the code in one. I'm not sure if. Okay, there we go. Oh, on my trackpad for my Mac, I think if you swipe left, it goes back, and apparently that switches the tab. So I'm trying to scroll up and down, and it keeps switching back. Let me just use my keyboard then. So define. Let me say get. Let's define put. Sorry, so forget self, and I said some key. Put self key value. Do this. So if not key in. Oh wait, I need to create a cache, of course. So cache equals to dict. If not key in self.cache, then return, or you said raise. So raise exception key not found. Is in there. Return self.cache of that key. And how to do for what I said here. I need to move to end. Move to end. As LRU. So I'll come back to that. And we get to put cache. I'm going to take a key and set that value. Right, so you update the cache, and then similarly, I want to so move this. And what else did I say? Update the front of cache. Oh, so if greater than size limit, pop less extra binary. So I have self at size as a size limit. So if what's greater than size limit? Oh, so if cache is greater than size limit, and I have the cache right here. So self cache. Let's say length. This should be the keys by default, so I don't need to check if stuff like cache keys. If that is greater than self.size, and I'll add that in. So I want to remove. Okay, so there's a pop less extra value. So less access value. So before I get to those parts, let me just do some tests to verify this is working correctly. So the cache, let's say cache.put key, let's say 2. Test 10, 4, 10, let's say 0. And if I want to print cache.get, let me say key, say test, and then let me also check for a cache miss. Let's say yes. That's what happens. Key not found. Okay, so that's good. So 0. All right, so that key 0 is there. Test is 10. Miss. All right, yeah, so that's working the base. So since it's an LRU, it needs to be optimized. So I have to go back and address these to-dos because I have to move them around. All right. So forget. What do you think? So I want this to be ordered because if you put, let's say 1, 3, 4, 10, doesn't to be should be ordered. It's recently used. So I know in Python there is an OrderedDict. I believe that's a data structure. Am I allowed to look up any documentation?
Yeah, I think that's good. That data structure will work. Yeah. But let's not use that.
Okay,
yeah.
Just use a base dictionary in Python. Yeah. Okay, just use a base.
And you'll obviously need auxiliary data structures to maintain it. But yeah, I want you to come up with design for that.
Okay. So let me see. So essentially, similar to ordered. Okay, let me think. So if you have that, you have that, you have that. Well, let me think. How can I keep track of the order for in the dictionary? Should we put that first? That's at the front. You put that. That's at the end. Okay, so let me try create something. Class, let's say dict ordered. We'll copy this.
You can think about your design before you start coding, right? I want to understand what your design will be.
Okay. So essentially for the OrderedDict, or the reason why I need this dict order is because with the LRU cache, as you put the values into the cache, for it to be optimized, you want the last added value to be at the end and the most recently to be at the front. So in that case, I need to have some understanding of the order that I'm adding values into the dictionary since I'm implementing the cache using a dictionary. So it's essentially some level of priority. So first value, so let me think about this. So you want some hierarchy of values, essentially some ordered list where last value added is at end of list. If value for that key is updated, move it to the front of the list. In the case of a dictionary, how can I optimize that? Yeah, let me think. Or the dictionary. Let me think. What exactly is an order dictionary? All right, so I'm thinking because I've never personally implemented an order dictionary before. I've always just used a data structure. So I'm trying to think how to actually implement an order dictionary in a way where it's actually efficient, because the whole idea behind using a order dictionary over a regular dictionary Python is the extra efficiency that it gives you. So I don't want to try writing an implementation that doesn't have the actual benefits, in which case it would just be not optimized for what I'm trying to do right now. So let me think. Is it a? It's probably a tree. Wait, just to check, instead of I assume, do you want me to recreate the actual data structure for an order dictionary Python?
No, I don't want you to create actual data structure. I just want you to implement LRU cache, right? And implement whatever
But I can't use the
structure
order.
you need to.
But I can't use any.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. I wonder if there's an easier. So either, let me sort of write it out. So approach 1, approach 2. Approach 1 is design some light version of ordered inputs. Or 2, some alternative that doesn't require OrderedDict. So I thought about OrderedDict for a while, and let me see if there's any alternative I can think about without relying on an OrderedDict. Let's see. Well, I know at least for, in the case of if it exceeds the size, I'd have to delete the one that's at the end. How do I know what's at the end without ordering them? I could keep track. I guess I could have another dictionary where the key is the key that I added in the cache and the value is when it was added. Let me see if that could work. So instead of creating some new class, let me say self order this. And where do I put? Okay, so every time I put something in here, I'm going to say self that order of that key. And I probably need some global to keep track, so self that global order. So start set, let's say 0 is equal to self.order plus that I'll do after order plus equal to 1. So this is a way to keep track of. So if something is greater than that, then I want to figure out the min. So key, so last entry equals to the min. So the min value from the orders dictionary, self.order.values. How do I get the key for that? This probably won't be as efficient, but I can't think of the most efficient way. So last entry, so for key in self.order, if self.order key is equal to last entry, then I know which one this is. So I think it's delete self.order key, and I also want to delete the actual value in the dictionary. So self.cache key. Okay, let me see if this makes sense. Essentially, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to assign some order to all the keys as they're added into the cache. And if I know once I exceed the capacity or the size of the cache, then I want to get rid of whatever is at the end. So that's why I get the minimum value. Because if, let's say, I add and the values are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, then I know 0 was the last one added. So if I get whatever key has a value for 0 in the separate order dictionary, then I can just delete that from both dictionaries because I know it has to get popped out of the cache essentially. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I know it's probably not the most efficient way to do it, but that's all I can think of right now, given time pressure and everything.
I guess, yeah. So yeah, this could work. So, but now instead of coding, I wanted to think what could be a potentially better way to implement this.
Okay, so one of a priority queue, well, external like library functions or data structures.
So you have like you have like list, you have list available, you have dict available, and then everything else. So like a plain old list.
Yeah.
And a plain old dict. That's it. And obviously you can write your own classes, whatever, but those are the kind of Python data structures which are given to you, a list and a dict.
Okay, so I could probably have a list where I add in the values because the list is essentially keeping track of the order. And if I take the key in the dictionary and I get its position in the list, that tells me if it's at the end or the beginning. So essentially, if I have 5 items and add them to the list, and the maximum size is 5, and now when I add a 6th item, I can essentially just pop what's at the front of the list because that's essentially the first thing that was added to the dictionary. Actually, that would probably work better. So let me.
What if you do a get? What will you do for a get operation?
So in the get operation, let me see. In the case of a get, okay to end because of LRU. So we have a list of, let me try and write it out. So list, key 1, key 2, key 3, key 4, and then let's say get key 2. So in the case of that, I want to get get index for key 2, move key 2 to end of list. How does that sound? Because since this is the last that was accessed, you essentially want to remove it from where it is in the list and push it to the front. Does that make sense?
Correct. So how do you delete like from some middle of the list?
So,
in Python?
Yeah. So remember right there. It's probably an efficient way to do it, but what I would do is I would take a variable, store whatever is at this position, whatever the index of key 2 is. In the next line, I'd remove that key from the list. And then the last line, I would append to the list. Because that would take everything there, would push everything 1 to the left, and then I would just append it to the end.
Okay, and the question is like, what did you do with the middle? Like whatever that value was, where key 2 index was, what did you do to that index? It's not, I didn't understand what you do there.
Oh, so I would just remove this, so now the index would just be key 1, key 3, key 4, and then I would append.
But like, how do you do that in Python? Like that's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
how do you do that
in
Python? So what would be a code for doing that in Python?
Yeah, so I'd say created key equals to. I don't have the list right now, but I'll assume I had the list. Let me put it here. So self.
Yeah, that's fine. You have the
list order. So I would say updated key equals to self dot list order, and I would say I think it's index. Is there index of function in Python? I can check this after, but I essentially say index of the key, and then I would remove or delete. I think do you do that? I don't think it's self. Remove key. And then I would say self.list order. It is in the list. I take it out. I delete it from wherever the position it's in, because then everything else would just get pushed over one to the left, and then I just append at the end.
Cool. Sounds good. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I'm curious what work you've been doing on your team and what different projects are available.
Yeah, sure. So this team has like a mandate to deliver real-time risk and P&L for the front office for the PM who trade fixed income, credit, commodities, and equity derivatives. So we work with like quant researchers who are responsible for writing the models, the numerical solvers, the curve fitters, basically think of it like that.
Yep.
And then we use those analytics and models in our services. So we build services around them to which kind of use those analytics to provide real-time risk and P&L to the portfolio managers. So we use like kind of microservices-based architecture where we have different services, some of them in Java, some of them in Python. They communicate with each other using gRPC, run in AWS.
Okay.
And these, think of it, these are like services are like one service is responsible for getting like live market data. One service is responsible for converting that data into format which we like. One service is like responsible for getting that data, like the converted data, and then using our analytics to build something which then build like a curve. Then that curve, then another service will take that curve and another service is responsible for getting our position. Another service will take that curve and positions and generate, like use the analytics library to price, stuff like that. So at a very high level to give you a kind of overview of what we do.
Okay, nice. And what brought you to the first place?
So yeah, I think I was at Cyril doing in like a similar role. So was there for 10 years. So I knew some people here. I was kind of excited about like what they are building. It's like a multi-year build out from scratch. So we could take the latest technologies and do it the right way. So I was really excited about that.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that mostly covers what I wanted to ask.
Cool. Thanks a lot for your time.